Hi everyone, it's Cheryl Millett live at 5 Mondays on Facebook. I wanted to cover off a few topics, but just kind of some fun stuff too, or interesting stuff. And sometimes I think maybe I'm the only one, and we might all think that, oh, I'm the only one that kind of experiences these certain situations. And so in this case, what I wanted to do is to open up today with, here's a Blackberry phone, and all of a sudden my Blackberry phone battery was dying. It was dying every night. It was energy, and I'm thinking, oh, the battery, they only last so long. And what could it be? It seemed even hotter than usual. So I explored the Blackberry site talking about battery, and I discovered that what I had turned on, don't know when, was the location device or location something, in the settings. And this was causing my battery to drain so quickly by having it on. And not only that, it was even hotter. Like all the time, it would just feel so hot. So like I said, I'm not really sure whether or not I'm the only one who has experienced this, knows about it. I'm not sure. But just take note, if you have the location on, you put it on, remember to take it off. Or if you don't understand about how the battery works, it is one of the key things for draining, aside from having all the other screens on at the same time, which I've been taking off. So hello everyone. Then I wanted to talk about, something interesting, and I don't want to take it for granted that everybody is understanding of what is natural. Quite often we'll see natural in the way of natural ingredients, supplements from natural. Maybe it says whole food. Maybe it just says use this lovely word called natural. So what is natural? The one example that I have here, some people have seen this, but this goes back to discussing about what is on or what is in the grocery store for our fruits and vegetables. So what is in the grocery store for our fruit and vegetables? Basically, it's what somehow someone has decided should be there, and they made choices. They made choices to have a certain kind of apple, or a few apples, or a certain kind of grape, or a certain kind of cucumber, or a certain kind of tomato. In this case, I just kind of wanted to show, hopefully the color comes in, but one is kind of like an orangey yellow color, and the other one is a reddish color. And these, tomatoes actually come in purple, they come in different colors. And of course, over the years, we've seen now cherry tomatoes in the store, which I think once upon a time we only had, the large tomatoes, and there was beefsteak tomatoes and so forth. But tomatoes might not be the exact, perfect idea of tomato, but how many people know that there is such a thing as an orange yellow? I'm not sure if it'll come in. Probably not. There we go. But tomatoes. So there is so much out there beyond the grocery store that is, in some cases they refer to it as heritage. And there's one other point I want to make here, because we have this wonderful world of certified organic foods these days. And there is the designation now called, non-GMO, which is a good thing, but we have to think of, there are some loopholes in there. Like canola oil is a genetically modified food. It just is. And they took something out of it and it was modified. And they can actually say in some cases non-GMO, but certified organic becomes tricky, because certified organic fits into all of these certain rules. Has its limits, especially for in Canada. It's more strict for those things coming from outside of Canada than it is for in Canada or in Ontario. And they could actually modify foods and then over time put it on the certified organic list. So just so that we're kind of clear on this, just because it says certified organic doesn't mean that it's non-GMO. Does that make sense? And even though it's certified organic doesn't mean it hasn't been modified in certain ways, or in some cases there's more chemicals than you want to imagine than some other farmer would do. So there's degrees of certified organic in a sense, like what chemicals or how much chemicals they're using. Some are using a lot more and others are using next to none kind of thing. So keep that in mind, that we do have all of these colorful vegetables out there, and these heritage vegetables that you won't even see in the grocery store, and you'll only be aware of them if you go to the farmer's market, although we can be open for that changing, absolutely. So that's that part. The last part, what I want to talk about is it does get back to brain health. And if you know me by now, brain health is in. It's it. That's it. I mean, the brain runs the body. The brain actually runs your digestive system. It runs your endocrine system. It's the whole communication within your body. You can't move a muscle without having, the thought to move. So brain. If I'd be focusing on brain, that would be a good thing. So I just wanted to bring attention to a study, and this might not apply to definitely to men, certainly those women who are menopause, but for those of us who have children, for those of us that will have, here it's just an awareness, but it has to do with oral contraceptions. And sometimes the oral contraceptive is actually given for different reasons. And I'm not going to say it's like metformin exactly, but in some cases we have these medications and they actually want to use these medications for whatever reason to experiment and say, hey, it looks like it's promising for that. In fact, let me just interject quite quickly, because I had some time with a good friend of mine and a fellow holistic nutritionist, and she was telling me that they wanted to put her on metformin for anti-aging. So, okay, everyone, now you're going to be running to get metformin. I don't think so, but that's that. So oral contraceptive, that's the oral contraceptives. There's actually a combined oral contraceptive, and I just got the research up here. And what they were saying is that up to 10% there was serious complaints of adverse mood effects. Now, sometimes people are thinking, is it supposed to help with the mood? Okay, well, in this study, what it caused, if I think of going down into the conclusion here, is that they significantly got worse, depressed, fatigue, and so forth, as the longer that they were on it. There was 34 women. In the conclusion, and this is something that I've read more in great length, the fact that it actually was affecting the gray matter, aka the brain. So it was actually seriously affecting their gray matter, and not a good thing. So there's some very scientific details in this. I will post this in below after we finish with this. But really, there are certain things about meds and side effects that we all have to be aware of. And even to be aware of, if you're not an herbologist and you are taking herbs, it is a good idea to know kind of what's happening, because there's what we call, when I took a course, and it was over several months on herbs, an intensive course, there's what we call the humble herbs, or the culinary herbs, which we're all very familiar with, like basil and parsley and thyme and oregano. But even though we know oregano can be quite strong, but herbs used medicinally or taken from a plant into a tincture or into an oil, which can change the potency of it or the effectiveness, we really need to know what we're doing. So medications have their side effects. They want to tell you there's possible benefits, but I can't see how we're working some of these medications. It's really, we're not the medication deficiency. And with herbs or maybe certain supplements, again, be careful what you notice. I mean, ask yourself in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, have you noticed any difference? But is there any change or any difference with anything that you're putting in your body that's not necessarily real food or something you picked from your garden? And so just ask yourself, because people can be sensitive to plants, to herbs, to combinations. And I'll just give you an example. I purchased some of this greens powder, which all looked good. It really looked good. And these days, supplement companies want to combine so many things. I guess from a marketing standpoint, we can look at it and say, great, we have everything here. This is wonderful. And I put it in some water, and I will do this sometimes, just in the middle, after 3 hours that I eat, just, a boost of greens. And I did this in a large, 3 cups of water. And all of a sudden I felt, probably with about a half hour, I felt congested. And I'll never figure it out, because there's probably about 50 things that are in this greens powder. But I will experiment again on an empty stomach. I will try this particular greens powder, which I've only had a few times, but did I have something in my stomach? Did I eat something else with it? And I'll just see, what it's doing for me. So really, this topic's about, yes, I mean, you have this drug or, whatever that's being used as oral contraceptives, and for whatever reason people are taking it, can have certain side effects that bring on things you might not be aware of or correlate, right? You may be able to correlate this. In this case, it's depression, mood swings, and so forth. And they're actually doing research on this. So they know that there's these side effects, and they're doing research. But if you read into the details, some of what we're able to measure is the change in brain, not for the better, actually affecting and shrinking the gray matter, aka brain. And I don't think anybody wants that. But any medications can bring on side effects. So there are no research really that kind of brings together, if you're on 3 meds, what is it doing? And again, everybody's unique. So you've got to kind of listen to your body, try to figure things out. Don't do too much at once if you have that luxury to kind of figure out when you add things, especially on the herbals, or you're doing something on your own. Then do it on an empty stomach. See what kind of comes about, if you can do that. And again, listen to your body. If it's not the right green formula in this case, then you won't buy it again, or you'll try to work with it differently, or maybe try it and then maybe stop using it for a while and try again. So this are some of the important things I will tell my clients, so that you can see is there anything sensitive, anything causing mucus, congestion, and so forth. So that was all for today, is just to kind of bring up those side effects from various things, in this case, oral contraceptives, and talk about what is natural and how things have definitely changed, or been different in the store versus the farm. There's more variety than we think. And if you have a phone and you're wondering why your battery's draining, or it's warm or hot, kind of look up the things around battery and what's kind of works with your phone, or anything that kind of is happening that's out of the usual, explore what that is, because it could be just a simple thing. I was ready to explore buying a battery, although the first sentence in research was it's a built-in battery. Not sure if that means I can't buy a battery, but anyway, interesting. So I want to wish everybody a good day. Here in Toronto, it's surely a good day, warm day, summer day, beautiful. Have a good evening. It's live at 5, and we will see you next Monday. So take care, everyone, and bye for now. Thanks for coming.